Hi students, my name is Hitesh Nair Rashid. I am from Annavara. So last class we discussed about the topic from 10th standard, that is real numbers. In real numbers we already discussed about Euclid's division lemma, their uses, their application and some of the problems regarding the Euclid's division lemma and the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. So we have to move on to the next topic, that is some of the theorems based on real numbers. The theorem states that let P be any prime number if P divides A square, then P divides A, where A is any natural number. So the theorem 1.3 states that. So that is theorem 1.3. Let P be any prime number. Let P be any prime number if P divides A square. If P divides A square, then P divides A, where A is any positive integer. Where A is any positive integer. So in this topic we are just taking positive integers. In Euclid's division lemma is also taking positive integers, and arithmetic also, fundamental theorem of arithmetic also we have to take positive integers. Here we are keep on taking positive integers. So the statement tells us that let P be any prime number if P divides A square, then P divides A, where A is any positive integer. So prime number we already learnt about that. That is, prime number is a number which can be divided by that number or 1. So you already learned that prime number. So we have to prove this statement. So already you learned that lemma is a proven statement used to prove another statement. So it's also a statement we have to prove. So and then we have to use this statement to prove some other statement. So let us discuss this theorem. So we have to prove this statement by using some assumptions. So proof. So let A be any positive integer. So let us take A is any positive integer. Let A is any positive integer. And it is also assumed that we have to take this as a composite number. It can be expressed in the form of product of primes. So fundamental theorem of arithmetic is also told us that every composite number can be expressed as a product of prime. So let us consider A is a positive integer and also a composite number. It can be expressed in the form of product of prime. So let A be any positive integer and can be expressed in the form of product of primes. So we have taken P as a prime number. So I will take P1, P2, P3 and P4 and up to Pn are the product of primes for this composite number A. So let us express this. A is equal to P1 into P2 into P3 into so on up to Pn. So let us consider this as a equation number 1 here. So composite number can be expressed as a product of primes. This factorization is always unique apart from the order in which the prime factor occurs. This is the statement of fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Okay, so So from this we can assume that, or from this we can tells that, so P divides A. So there are many prime numbers are there. So P1, P2, P3, P4, whatever it may be. So let us consider P as a common term. So P divides A. So let us come to the assumption that from equation number 1. So we have to square that number. So we have to square A. So that means squaring on both sides. Squaring on both sides. So when we square, A square is equal to, so we have to multiply this term 2 times. So second 2 times. So P1 into P2 into P3 into so on up to Pn multiplied by P1 into P2 into P3 into P4 so on up to Pn. So it can also be written as P1 square into P2 square into P3 square into so on up to Pn square. Question number 2. So from this expression we can also come to the conclusion that here P1 and P2 are multiplied 2 times, but so P1 and P2 and C can be separated like that, and this P1, P2, P3 and can be separated like that. So that means P is also divides A square also. Here P is also divides A, and here P is also divides A square. That means P divides A square, and also we come to the conclusion that P divides A also. So it is the proof of this statement or this theorem 1.3. So here let P be any prime number. If P divides A square, then P also divides A also. So where A is any positive integer. So we already discussed about lemma. Lemma is any proven statement used to prove another statement. So it is also like lemma. So it's a proven statement. So we have to prove here. So we have to take this statement to prove another statement. So let us take any other statements on real numbers. So let us use this statement to prove another statement. So to prove another statement means that statement is belong to some theorem. So I just call it as a theorem number 1.4. Theorem 1.4. The statement of theorem 1.4 is root 2 is irrational. Root 2 is irrational. Yes, we already learned that root 2 is irrational, root 3 is irrational, pi is irrational. We already learned about irrational numbers which cannot be expressed in the form of P by Q. P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0. We already learned that. But the theorem 1.4 tells us that root 2 is irrational. It's a right statement. But we have to prove this statement using the previously proven statement. That means it's a lemma. It's a proven statement used to prove this statement. So theorem 1.3 can be used to prove theorem 1.4. So let us take theorem 1.3. So for the proving of root 2 is irrational. So let us move to the proof. So proof. So we already given root 2 is an irrational number. But in previous classes we also proved that root 2 is irrational number in the method of contradiction. So here also we are taking the method of contradiction to prove this statement. So let us take root 2 is a rational. So this can be proved. This can be proved by method of contradiction. Method of contradiction. So here I will part this blackboard into two parts for my convenience. So whole theorem can be proved in one board. So let us divide this board into two parts. So here I can take root 2 is a rational number. Rational number. So we can be proved by the method of contradiction. So that means root 2 cannot be a irrational number. So I will take this as a rational number. If root 2 doesn't belong to irrational number, means it must be belongs to rational number, because real number system has only two parts, that is, one is the rational number, one is the irrational number. If a number doesn't belong to the irrational number, means it must be belongs to the rational number. If a number doesn't belong to the rational number, means it must be belongs to the irrational number. So we take here the method of contradiction. That means if we take the statement as incorrect, so root 2 is not an irrational number, means it must be a rational number. So these rational numbers can be expressed in the form of p by q. P and q are integers and q is not equal to 0. So that means root 2 is equal to p divided by q, or I will take a divided by b. So for just a change, so we are always keep on taking p by q, p by q, p by q. So just for a change, we can take a by p. And also in some textbook we are also having that, and we are just adopting some in the definition of rational number. That is, rational number is a number in the form of p by q. P and q are integers and q is not equal to 0, and HCF of PQ is equal to 1. That means P and Q are co-primes, that is P and Q are prime numbers. So it can be divisible by 1 or itself. So here also I am taking A and B are co-primes. A and B are co-primes. So co-primes means A and B are divisible by itself or 1. So HCF of A and B is equal to 1. HCF of A and B is equal to 1. So let us come to this expression. So we can transpose this B into LHS sign. B into root 2 is equal to A. So after that we have to square that expression. Squaring both sides. So 2 into b square is equal to a square. Square of a is a square and square of b is b square, and square root of 2 whole square is equal to 2. So from this expression we learnt that it's a form of Euclid's division lemma. A is equal to bq plus r. So here r is equal to 0. That means it completely divisible by a square is completely divisible by 2 here. So that means 2 divides a square. So I will take this expression as equation number 1 and this expression as equation number 2. Here we come to the conclusion that 2 divides a square. From theorem 1.3, P divides a square means P divides a also. That means from theorem 1.3, 2 divides a. That means this is equation number 3. So from this we got 2 divides a. So if 2 divides a means, so let us take any other positive integer c from the integer number set. So it is also true for any other positive integers. So I will take c from any other integer. So let c be any positive integer. Any positive integer. If 2 divides a means a is equal to 2 into c. A is equal to 2 into c. The value does not disturb because from equation number 3, 2 divides a. So here also 2 divides a here. So substitute this a is equal to 2c. Equation number 4. So substitute 4 in equation number 2. Substitute equation 4 in equation 3. So what happens? 2b square is equal to a square. 2b square is equal to a is equal to 2c. That means 2c whole square is equal to 2b square is equal to 4c square. Then so transpose this 2 into the RHS side, it comes to the denominator 2 into 1, 2 into 2. That means b square is equal to 2c square. So from this equation, from equation 5, we come to the conclusion that b square is divides 2. That means b square is completely divisible by 2 here. That means 2 divides b square. From equation number 1.3, p divides a square, then p divides a. So that means from equation 3, 2 divides b here, because from theorem 1.3. So if it's going to take this equation is taken it as equation number 6. From equation number 3 and equation number 6. So just observe those two equations. That is, here 2 divides a is there. Here 2 divides b is there. That means a and b are having a common factor 2. So that means from equation 3 and 6. From equation 3 and 6. So we come to the conclusion that a and b having a common factor 2 here, because 2 divides a here, also 2 divides b. But the thing is that a and b are co-primes. That means it must be divisible by 1 or itself. But here there is a chance of 2. So it's impossible. That means this contradicts the fact that a and b are co-primes. So I will continue here. So you can write before I run this. So after that I will write here. This from equation. So this contradicts the fact that A and B are co-primes. So this contradicts the fact. So this means root 2 is irrational number. That means our assumption, our taken statement that is root 2 is irrational is incorrect. That means this contradicts our incorrect assumption. Incorrect assumption. Root 2 is rational. This means if root 2 is doesn't belongs to the rational number, so after that it must be belongs to the irrational number, because real number system has only two parts. That is, one is the rational number, one is the irrational number. If a number doesn't belongs to the rational number, means it must be belongs to the irrational number. That means root 2 is irrational number. Root 2 is irrational. So hence the proof here. So here we are taking theorem number 1.3 in 2 steps. So we have to prove that root 2 is an irrational number. So simultaneously, likewise, so you can take root 3. So I will give you a homework. So that is, consider so another number, that is root 3 is irrational. Check whether root 3 is irrational or rational by considering the theorem 1.3. So this is I will give you a homework for you. So just pause the video here and try to solve it. So let us move on to the next problem. So here I will take one example. So that is similar one is that is 5 minus root 2 is irrational. 5 minus root 2 is irrational. Here, so we are also know that, so we just proved root 2 is irrational by the method of contradiction. Here also we are taking the method of contradiction. This can be proved. This can be proved by the method of contradiction. So let us take 5 minus root 2 is rational. 5 minus root 2 is rational number. So 5 minus root 2 is rational number means it can be expressed in the form of p by q. P and q are integers and q is not equal to 0. That is 5 minus root 2 is equal to p divided by q. So let us transpose this minus root 2 into RHS side and p by q into LHS side. So we can take 5 into this side. So then we are whatever it may be possible. So root 2 is equal to 5 minus p by q. So that means root 2 is equal to 5q minus p divided by q. So it is the form of a divided by b. That means so 5 minus p by q is in the form of a divided by b. But we already solved that, already proved that root 2 is a irrational number. Here it contradicts the fact that root 2 is rational number. It contradicts the fact that root 2 is rational. Root 2 is irrational. Root 2 is irrational. So that means 5 minus root 2 is irrational number. So like taking theorem 1.4, so we are just proving this statement. That means, so here theorem can be converted into lemma, because so lemma is any proven statement used to prove another statement. That means we have to keep on using those theorems, those statements used to prove another statement. So likewise you already solved that root 2 is irrational. So likewise you have to solve 5 minus root 3. 5 minus root 3 is irrational or not? Root 3 is irrational or not? So I will give you two homeworks here. So one is root 3 is irrational or not. So you have to check root 3 is irrational or not by the usage of theorem 1.3, and 5 minus root 3 is irrational or not. So you already proved that root 3 is irrational. So you have to take that statement use and to solve 5 minus root 3 is irrational or not. So these are the homework. So you have to solve in your home. So I already showed that how root 2 is irrational and how to prove that statement. So also 5 minus root 2 is irrational or not, I am just solving here. So by the reference of these methods and these steps, so you have to solve this homeworks in your home. So thank you one and all. So be safe and stay home. Thank you.